Hi, within this lecture, we're going to see how to make our session sustainable, which means that we're going to have our session continue having our session even though the target restarts the computer or even though the target tries to delete our backdoor from their computer. And we have a module for that which is called persistence. All this process is called persistence when we try to have a sustainable session. And we have some means to do it. And you have to do it after you open the connection with MeterPreter session, okay? And we're not going to use actually the MeterPreter session this time. We're going to use Metasploit framework in order to achieve these results. So this is a perfect example when you have to get into the background, okay? You will say background and MeterPreter session will continue running in the background because we're going to change the module. So we're not going to use multi-handler anymore. We're going to use something called Windows, Local, and Persistence. So it will take me into the persistence module, and if I say show options, it will ask me for some default configurations. As you can see, it has a delay of 10 seconds. So after 10 seconds, the computer restarts. This will be effective and we will have our session. So even though the target restarts, reboots their computer, after 10 seconds, we will have the session if this works out well. So I'm not going to change this, but of course you may want to change this to 30 or 60 in order to have a longer waiting delay periods, okay? But rather, I'm going to change another settings. First, we're going to set up the session. As you can see, the session is required and we have to have a session running on the background in order to run this module. And we already have it, right? We have a current session with the target running on the background and they are on session 1. So we have a exe name in here as well, and we're going to set this to be whatever process name that we want to appear on the target computer. So I'm going to choose something not suspicious like winexplore.exe. You can try to use your own imagination for that as well. So let me say show options one more time and see the other options here. We have a path and this is optional as well. We have this session required as I said before, and let me just actually set this session before we forget. As you might remember, we have this session as one running on the background. So if I say show options one more time, actually we are now done, but I'm going to add a manual option in here which is an advanced option. We have never done this before, I believe, but you can reach the advanced options as well by typing show advanced. So here we have the advanced options and they are not required. But here we have an exe custom option, which means that we get to choose our own payload to be delivered to the target machine as a sustainable, as a persistent backdoor. So if we don't do it, it will deliver a pre-built-in backdoor created by MSF console itself, but we already have our backdoors, so I'm going to use them. So I will say set exe custom, and I'm going to need to specify the path of my backdoor. So mine is under var w.html backdoors, and I'm going to specify the same backdoor that we have been using so far. Of course, we can choose another backdoor here as well. And I'm going to go with my backdoor anyway. So if I say show advanced one more time, I will see my exe custom is set to be my current new payload.exe. So now I'm ready to run exploit, and it will try to get this backdoor and inject it to the target user, target computer, by using the current session that we have on our hands. And as you can see, it interacted via session ID 1, and it managed to inject this payload as a sustainable, as a persistent backdoor into the target computer. Now I'm going to use exploit multi-handler one more time to test this, and I'm going to set payload to Windows meterpreter reverse HTTP like we always do. Okay, meterpreter HTTP, no, reverse HTTP. And after that, I'm going to say show options, and let us see if we already have the options. Yes, we already have the options. Now, if I run exploit, of course, I would get a session in here because we already have our backdoor running on the target computer. But let me try the alternative scenario where target actually finds out something fishy going on in their computer and tries to delete this and restarts their computer in order to be safe. So let me delete this Kirknib payload.exe altogether from the Windows machine, and then I'm going to reboot this machine, restart this machine from here like a normal user would do if they understand something is going on, something hacky going on in their computer. Okay, and sometimes this persistence, this sustainable backdoor thing won't work out for you. You have to try with other backdoors. You have to try with some other settings like increasing or decreasing the delay. But don't worry about this. Even if you cannot make this work, we're going to learn how to create our own backdoor, how to make our own backdoor sustainable in the Python section as well. So you're going to do something much more advanced than this later on. And I should have run this exploit much before Windows restarts, because I should be listening once this connection comes back to me. But I believe this will be okay because we didn't miss the 10 seconds period. So wait for 10 seconds, and as you can see, I got the session opened in here. Now if I try to run sessions L, I will see the session running in here, and I couldn't get into session 2. Let me run sessions L. Yeah, I see the sessions in here. Let me try to go into it by running sessions 1. Yes, I believe there is some kind of a complication in here, but it works. Let me confirm this works by running pwd. Now I'm in the Windows machine. So now you know how to run a persistent backdoor, and as I said before, sometimes it doesn't work because of the complications, but you're going to learn much more advanced things than this in the Python section, don't worry. So even if you want to delete this persistent backdoor, you can do it by going here and deleting this RC file so that you would lose the connection between the target computer. Okay, so let's stop here, and within the next section we are going to discuss methods of hackers, steps they follow when they try to hack into a system.